Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing today? I am Debbie Waidl. I'm a certified functional health coach, migraine specialist, here to help you find ways to reduce the severity, duration, and frequency of your migraines without having to rely on medications, without having to rely on risky surgeries, quick fixes, and without having to just manage day to day, but actually start to get your life back so that you can live the life that you were meant to live and not have to constantly worry every single day when the pain's going to get too much, when the pain is going to return, and if you're going to be able to do the things you need to do each day. That's why we're here. This group is a little bit different than all the other migraine groups that are out there. So I'm so glad that you have found us. And I'm sorry that you have migraines, but I'm glad that you're here so that we can help support you. Every Tuesday, we come to you on a migraine strategy call. There are some weeks that we do trainings, and there are other weeks, these are my favorite weeks. There are other weeks that we are joined by either graduates of the Freedom from Migraine Method, members of the Freedom from Migraine Method, or women that have worked with us in another capacity. And today, Susie is joining us. So Susie, thank you for being here today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So just so everyone gets a little quick overview of who Susie is, Susie and her husband, Dave, have 3 grown kids, one in Washington, D.C. One, Susie says, thank goodness, that lives in her hometown. I know how that feels, Susie. I keep telling my kids, you're not moving. Otherwise, I'm going to chase them down. And your other child who's in the Navy stationed in Japan, please thank that one for their service. Absolutely. She works from home part-time as an administrative assistant for an insurance agency. And Susie enjoys sewing, and she and her husband are in the middle of working on a fixer-up house, which I can't imagine how much work is involved in that. That's amazing. When Susie started the program, she was having close to daily migraines. Maybe she said 1 or 2 days a month without pain, but currently, Susie, you're down to about 6 to 8 migraine days a month as you continue to work towards your migraine freedom. That is amazing. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you today for sharing your story. And ladies, I am having difficulties getting online today on Facebook, so I can't tell who is or isn't on there right now. So Barbie, if you're over there, you're in charge. So everybody, let us know where you are watching from. I'm just double checking on my other screen to see if it's going to pop up for me, but let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you have any questions. Amazing. I can see it now. Barbie, yes, you're there. Yay. Wonderful. Technology. Not my strong suit, as Susie and I talked about before. So when things don't work, like my phone is still blank, everyone, it's totally blank. But we'll get it over here on the screen. So let's dive right in. So Susie, you had migraines for over 20 years, as did your mom. Your mom had migraines for a long time, and hers ended after menopause. So I guess that you're like many other women that I speak to, that you were kind of hoping that, you were just going to ride it out till menopause and yours would end then too. But you had a hysterectomy at age 48 and had a little bit of a brief reprieve, but your migraines didn't totally go away. And instead you told me that they got worse and other health issues began to pop up. So what happened around that time? Here you were waiting for migraine freedom, but that wasn't what happened. So what happened with you?
Yeah, I was very frustrated. I kept thinking, okay, just, ride it out. But yeah, I guess there was a little bit of a reprieve there. But they came back. They came back with full force, and other things started to happen too. Like my stomach was always affected with the migraines. Anxiety started to happen because I was having, like, I would use the word wonky. I just had unstable, balancy type wonky issues. In addition to, and those caused the anxiety and then all of it just sort of would snowball. I would just be like, what would happen when I was driving to work. So it's like, okay, am I going to get in a wreck? Is it going to happen at work? Just, the whole thing, and just snowballed.
Yeah, and that makes you nervous to even leave your house, right? If you have this head pain that you're like, is it coming on? Is it going to get worse? What do I do? But then that balance, that dizziness that so many women in this group suffer with, I just can't imagine being in a vehicle or being away from home for that matter, and feeling that feeling of out of control, which I'm sure spiraled quite a bit of this anxious feeling that you were having.
Yeah, it did. I went into full blown panic attacks. I was missing work. I ended up quitting my job.
Mhm.
The job that I actually have now, they were gracious enough to, after a little bit of time, let me work from home
Mhm.
on non-time sensitive things. So that was very nice. But yeah, it I, I just sort of gave up. Like I quit my job. I said, okay, I'm stuck. I'm at home because I'm not going to go out to the store or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, that had to be quite a horrible feeling to kind of have to give up on your life. I mean, you gave up on a big part of your life. So obviously you did many things before you had that feeling, to try to end your pain. I know you didn't like meds, because you didn't really want to go down that route of, the meds that neurologists and all those things were going to give you. You know, so how did that impact you personally? You knowing that you didn't have a way to try to end them and the meds you were taking weren't working. How did that make you feel?
Um, you start to despair. Um, you're gonna make me cry. So sorry, but I can't count the number of times that I laid in bed. I would push through. I was stubborn about the meds, and I think I'm glad at this point that I was stubborn about it and just basically did over the counter. But you push and you push and you push until you're just hurting so bad that you go to bed. And when I was younger, I didn't do this, but in the last several years, by the time I was in bed, I
Mhm.
would just pray that my life could go ahead and end because really wasn't having one.
Yeah.
So it got bad, and I wasn't. It's funny because of my faith, I didn't consider myself a depressed person. I know who I am, and I'm deep down happy,
Hmm.
but life, stopped and didn't seem like a life worth living. So that's was the worst, was laying in bed asking for that to happen. I don't know how many times I did that.
Well, Susie, I can't thank you enough for sharing that, because I want you to know right now that there are so many women who 100% feel the same as you do right now and aren't in a position yet that they feel that they can share that. So that's huge. I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for sharing that, because also when we think about pain, when we're in chronic pain, we don't see a way out, right? You go to the doctor and they talk to you about Imitrex or amitriptyline or Botox or, ladies, I can list it. We all know the list, right? And that's what your doctors talk to you about, but it doesn't take everything away. It just covers it up, and it leads you to start kind of managing every single day, the minimum that you can do to get through, and not really living your life. So Susie, you hit this point in time where you're like, you had to do something, and what you were doing wasn't working. And I know that you joined the Women's Migraine Freedom Group. And when you joined and you and I had a conversation, I know that you were looking around, you were debating on another program, talking to, me about our program. So kind of how was your experience different? Working with us, you decided to work with us. How was your experience different with working with us than how it was when you were working with the medical professionals that you tried to find relief with for years?
Yeah. I've thought about this actually. I would get so frustrated that the first line, I'd go in, I'd fill out all the paperwork, and
Mm.
then I'd sit there and wait. They'd call me for my appointment. I'd go in, and then they'd say, "Why are you here?" And I thought, well, why did I just fill out that? And
Yeah.
I would explain what was wrong. And then the first thing they would offer is medication.
Mhm.
And the difference was that I desperately wanted somebody to work with me.
Mhm.
Like, I know they wanted to help me, but I knew that that was just a Band-Aid.
Mhm.
I knew, I had to figure out something was causing all this, something, can we do tests or whatever? But I needed somebody to work with me. And that's what the program did for me. It worked with me. There's the word work, which I've heard you say before. I wish I could wave the wand and make you feel better yesterday, and so do I.
Yeah.
But there's the work part and there's the with part, and it is work,
Mhm.
and it's worth it. And there's the with part. You are with us with your expertise, and then there's the us, the other ladies that are in there, that they're with me too. I was telling you earlier, my family, they care and they want to help, but they don't understand
Yeah.
really how I feel. But I knew that there were like 40 or 50 women
Mhm.
that did finally get what I was feeling, how I was feeling. And so I could, I could lament, or I could ask a question, or and that, so the working and the with, that was the difference.
Yeah, I think it's important that we all remember, migraine freedom is a very individual journey because each person is so unique, right? Your experiences, Susie, are totally different than the 40, 50 other women that we're working with right now. Some of you work, some of you don't, some are married, some have kids, some have grandkids, some, have to travel for work, some have different symptoms. So it's kind of crazy to really believe that going on Dr. Google or Nurse Pinterest, is going to find the answer for every single person, because you are all so unique and different, beautifully unique and different. So we help you take a foundational approach that has been proven time and time again to help women find migraine freedom. We help you take that approach and tailor it. We help you tailor it to fit you. So I'm glad that you felt that. And I do believe that the support of the other women going through it at the same time is just so crucial. At least that's what all of you tell me. And I see it on a daily basis. Before this morning, there were like 3 people that posted questions in our group. And before I could even get in there to answer them, they were answered by other loving members, and the advice and the love and the care. I didn't have anything else to say. I'm like, all right, thanks. Job all done. Let's move on. So I just reacted and went on to the next one. But it's so wonderful to see that, because it's like having a bunch of big sisters, right?
Yeah, right.
Being in a room of people that you can be open with, be honest with, be vulnerable with, and know in turn that they're there to have your back. So I love that. We've got a bunch of people watching over here. We've got Christine and Barbie's on, and I can't see every comment. Ladies, I'm so sorry because it's not on my phone, but thank you everyone for joining today. So Barbie, actually, we'll do that question at the end. Remind me, Barbie has a question, but I don't want to lose track of where I am here. So your pain level before was quite a bit, we were pretty much chronic, is where you were, with only a couple days a month feeling good. And I think you said like 2 or 3. So let's just take it at 3. When we stop to think about this, if you take 3 days a month, you multiply that by 12, that's 36 days in a year that you used to feel good.
Yeah.
So I challenge everyone watching this. I'm not going to ask a lot of questions of people watching the show and the replay today, but I challenge you to do this. Think about how many days a month you feel good, and then multiply that by 12 and pop that number in the comments for us. Tag myself, tag Susie if you want, pop your number in there and tell us how many days out of your year that you feel good. And the easiest way to do that is just to think about your month. Does that number surprise you, Susie, when I say it that way?
Yeah. I mean, that was my reality, but when you put it that way, it's like, okay, so 1/12 of the year, I
Yeah.
felt normal or not bad.
Yeah. And I think it's so surprising when we do it that way, because we as women who have suffered with migraines, we normalize our pain very
Yeah.
quickly. I hear the word, oh, I just had 3 migraines this month. I just had 1 migraine this week. I'm like, take the word just out. You
Mhm.
had a migraine this month. You had 3 migraines this week, or whatever it is. Doesn't need to happen. So that was then. That was how many you were having then. And now we're here. So let's talk about your pain level then compared to now. And then how life kind of looks different, because your medication usage looks different. Your overall health looks different. So give us the quick 2-second of then to now.
Yeah, then was, almost every day of the month, and then the wonkies and stomach problems. Now, I'll just go ahead and get gross. I'll say it this way. I buy a lot less toilet paper.
I love it.
I have more days where I'm like, I feel normal. I say to my husband, I feel normal. This is kind of nice. And I'm actually, when I had the wonkies, I would force myself to go to the grocery store, and I would turn around and leave the parking lot and come back home and not go. I'm going out more. I am the wonkies are so much better. It's almost like that's getting better quicker or more fully at this point than the migraines. Like I'm assuming there's some progression, but
yeah.
And I'm thrilled that those are so much better. So I was almost taking something every day, and now I'm probably taking something over the counter 6 to 8 days a month.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. I think, I can't remember the exact number that you wrote, and I'll make sure that I attach it to this video so that everyone can read the wonderful words that you wrote out. But I think you wrote something like you were taking 38 to 40 pills a month, and then it had dropped down to 6.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That is huge. And as you and I talked about before we jumped on, migraine freedom's a journey. And it is all about raising that threshold and being able to live under it. So sometimes it takes longer than what we'd like, but when you compare it to 20 years of migraines, the results that you're seeing on a daily basis are amazing. So I love that the wonkies are better. I do remember in the very beginning of the program, you actually telling me I tried to go to the store and I came back. I remember that.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that has changed, that the migraines have drastically reduced, and that your gut health issues are so much better. So for those of you watching, that is something that we focus on quite a bit in the program, is gut health, because it's so related and it's so intertwined with everything. And I love that. I'm going to always remember that. I buy a lot less toilet paper. It's just reality, folks. It is reality. So you have all this extra time now that you're not spending in bed. So what's in store for Susie now? What does she want to do that you can now do without worrying so much?
Well, I think you mentioned the fixer upper house that we bought. That I thought if it was 6 or 8 months prior, I've gone every time. We go on the weekends. I've gone every time. That wouldn't be the case. I wouldn't be doing that. I can work almost every day from home. And I'll go out to the store just to walk around. If I feel like, just to have some fun and just sort of shut down or whatever. And just because I can do it.
Yeah.
It feels nice.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned too, travel, right? To see your kids.
Yeah, that's a goal. That I don't feel like I'm there yet, because the goal is to do it alone. But yeah, my daughter in Washington, D.C., I'd like to be able to drive myself to the airport, get on the plane, get off, get to her apartment, and just, that'll be a great thing when that happens. But I can see that happening now, when I just wouldn't even have thought about it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, let me get to Barbie's question here before I forget. Um, oops, I think I lost Barbie's question. So sorry about the technical issues here today, ladies. I believe she was asking, how you actually managed to do all that, why you didn't feel in pain, how you managed to work, how you managed to live. And if I'm getting her question right, but I think you just took a lot of meds, right? Did you take a lot of over the counters to try to get through, to push through when you could?
I didn't I don't know why. I don't know if I have a high pain tolerance or what, because I mean, I always describe it, mine, there are a lot of people, I'm sure they're one-sided, but it just felt like the knife, or it felt like someone was on me pushing
Mm,
with the knife. I don't, I don't know how I'm not sure. God's grace, I think. But I never wanted to take more than 4 or 6 pills in a day. So yeah, I just would push, and then I would be alone and bawl and go to bed. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I do remember that, thinking, well, in the beginning, I worried about how many Advil I took in a day. I would try to count them out and follow the directions and do what you're supposed to do. And by the end, I was just pouring them
Yeah.
into the palm of my hand and saying, I'm the only one home. I got 2 kids here. I have a choice. They've
Right.
already watched 4 hours of TV today because I was in pain before, and they haven't eaten.
Yeah.
Have a few more Advil. So I totally get that. I totally get that. Well, thank you everybody who popped on to listen and to hear. If you have any questions, please pop them in. And my apologies if I don't see them to ask right now. But if I don't see your question, we will make sure that we get back to it and answer it in the actual comments. Because like I said, tech issues are, they're great some days. But anyway, Susie, any last words of wisdom, anything that you would like to share or say to the women in this group right now who are just like you were, last year? You joined the group and you're like, oh, God, I don't think this is anything that's going to help me, but I really hope this is going to help me. I need to make a change. What would you say to those women?
One thing I do know, because I thought, okay, she could be scamming me.
Mhm.
And I know it's a leap of faith for you to believe me. You don't know who I am, but it's not a scam. It's a real group of real people who are going through what you're going through. So think about it, pray about it. I know there's, timing and family issues and things, but it's not a scam. It is that, thing that I didn't even know I was looking for someone to work with me, and to help me figure it out and to support me along the way. That's what it is. And if that's what you want to try, it is very much worth it.
Well,
And so thank you.
You are welcome. It has truly been my pleasure to be a part of your journey. It's my pleasure to be a part of everyone's journey. And I love how you said that, each person kind of needs to be ready. You have to know in your heart that this is something you want to do, because it is work. It's taking pills are easier. They don't get you the results you want, but they're surely easier, right? You pick up your glass of water, you pop a pill in, you're done. That's 30 seconds. Where this is a process. There are changes that you make, but within this program, we work really hard at ensuring that you only have to make the least amount of changes necessary to see the results you want.
Right.
Some people have to make quite a few changes based on how they were living before. Some people have to make less, but that's what kind of we help you figure out, is where you need to be and how far you need to go to get the results you want. Because everybody is looking for something a little bit different. Everyone has their little version of migraine freedom that works for them. And we just hope that we can be a little part of that for each and every woman that's in this group, because I wish I could put this on this billboard so that everyone would see it every morning, the minute they wake up, and every night before they go to bed. No one needs to live with migraines like this. You just don't. So, well, Susie.
And your team is awesome too.
They are. I'm glad you mentioned that. I do have the best team ever. We have a group, there's 9 of us total. That's with myself included, 9 amazing women that work tirelessly each and every day to support all of the women in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group, the women I work with privately, the women in the Freedom for Migraine Method, women in Destination Zero, in the many trainings that we do, like the master classes and the challenges. And many of them had migraines and have gone through this program and have found their migraine freedom. Their stories are actually in the guides. I believe it's guide number 5 you can find in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group. Take a look for Erin and Julie and Barbie and Kim, bunch of interviews in there. So it's, they're amazing. They're amazing. And, you know, as Susie said, they're always there to support and always there to help. Nice to have a group. We have this great group of women. We really do. We really do. When you ladies leave me, it's such a sad day. It's a great day, but it's a sad day. So, all right, so let me just double check here. I don't think I see anything else. So let's close it up today so we can honor everyone's time. But if anyone has any further questions, please do not hesitate to tag us in this post. Let us know if there's anything else that we can help support you with. And I am wishing all of you a migraine-free day. So here's to your migraine freedom. Susie, take care. Thanks so much. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks. Bye.